How is it going, everyone? My name is Johnny Beard, and I have another brilliant episode of Streamer Stories podcast just for you. And today's amazing guest is the wonderful Emidivergent. Here she is. Hello, hello. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. I'm nervous. Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
You have no reason to be nervous. It's just me. But no, I appreciate you. Oh, I've known of you, Emmy, for a few years now, and I'm so excited to chat to you. You're amazing. So I can't wait to get started and get to learn more about your streamer story. So.
Well, thank you. I know we were talking about it while we were getting ready, but it means a lot to me that you not only attempted to have me on here once, but twice. So
Yes.
thank you again for sending 2 messages to get me here. I'm super
Oh
hyped.
no, yeah. Thank you. No, thank you for accepting. Honestly, it was like, because we get some people like, okay, no, they're busy. I'll leave them alone. But no, I really, again, I'm grateful. I was always worried I push people. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do that. But again, appreciate you checking in and allowing me to have an hour of your time. Honestly, it's going to be a lot of fun to chat to you. So yeah,
I'm ready. I'm excited.
let's
Got the
go.
questions ready. Fire them off. No.
We hear they come. No. So, but before we get to those, then, well, Emmy, can you introduce yourself to anyone who does not know who you are?
Yeah, of course. So I have like a rage spiel. So is it okay if I do the rage spiel?
Absolutely, go for it.
Beautiful. So, hello, I'm Emmy, aka Emidivergent, and I'm a hype, high energy, chatty Cathy, new boot goofing, late night vibing, retro and variety streamer on Twitch. I tell everybody I yap in all caps. I'm a bit of a scream queen, especially with horror games. I'm a chronic oversharer that's openly neurodivergent. So, when you come to my community, you'll find we're very much feelings and fun wrapped into one big Katamari ball.
My goodness me, that's amazing. Oh,
That was the TLDR version. Sometimes I can just like really go for a while, and I was like, okay, let me rein it in a little there.
oh no, I almost want to ask you to do the TLDR version now, but no, don't. No, it's fine. It's fine. No, we've got a good load of things to go through today. I can't wait to learn more about you. And then again, little Emmy from back in the day as well. So let's start there. So yeah, what's your first memories then of playing games then? Was it did you watch it? Did you see it? So did you watch it? Did you see it? Did you watch it? Did you play it? Were you on your own? Were you with family, friends? What was your like introduction into video games, Emmy?
So I talk about this on stream a little bit since I primarily play retro games on original hardware. People like to, ask what got me into collecting and what got me into playing these games. One of the things I always have to give a disclaimer of, I definitely was a Chuck E. Cheese girl. I don't know if they have Chuck E. Cheese where you are, but
Yeah, heard of
I
it. Yeah.
I went to like little kid arcades all the time. So I definitely played little arcade cabinets and stuff. But my first experience with an actual like at home video game experience that wasn't at an arcade, because I don't remember what all I was playing then. Was actually Pokemon Yellow. So to my knowledge, I hadn't seen a video game at that point. I got to dive deep in the memories here, and I already have a bad memory. But when I was like 6 years old, my mom worked at Target, and she came home one day and she said, "Hey, Emmy, this is a Game Boy Color and this is a video game. And I got this for you and your sibling to share." And it was the Pokemon Game Boy Color. It's yellow on the front, blue on the back with a Pokemon on the glass screen. I still have it. I'm like somewhere back here. And
Nice, nice.
and it came with Pokemon Yellow. And I played that and just fell in love with gaming so much so that actually my sibling and I had to get our own Game Boy Color after that because we couldn't share it. But and ever since I've been into gaming and collecting. So shout out to Pokemon Yellow because they started my journey.
Shout out to Pokemon that yellow, and it's the definitive version of that as well, isn't it? So do you remember like what your starter was, and do you remember what your team was like that you used to play with in terms of like
Oh,
did you build it?
100%. Yes. So so I was one of those. So Pokemon Yellow, the only starter you get is Pikachu. So right
Yes.
out the gate, my first starter was Pikachu.
Hmm.
And it being my first video game, I was terrible. I was awful. So what I had to do was level up and farm a Metapod into Butterfree. And so by the end of that, I don't know if you remember, Butterfree's like OP because it has all the psychic moves.
Yes,
So
psychic.
by
Yeah.
the end of that game, I had a level 76 Butterfree and everything else was level 15.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
That was all I used was Butterfree, and then
Wow.
Pikachu had HMs, and Pidgey had like Fly, and just the most random Pokemon. I never used anything but Butterfree, so I'm a big Butterfree fan.
Oh, Butterfree's amazing. To be fair, were you a fan of like the anime as well?
I ended up getting into the anime because of the game, so that
Yeah.
worked out really well. But I kind of dropped off. I liked the first 3 generations of Pokemon, so then I dropped off the show around Gen 3. But big fan of
Mm.
the early days.
Yeah, just remember that Bye Bye Butterfree episode just brought me to tears. Oh,
Oh no!
goodness me. Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
just
know you were
like,
bringing me
oh.
on here to be sad.
No, sorry. No. Let's move on quickly. But yeah.
No.
But I was similar though with my Pokemon journey. Like I played maybe like the first, maybe 3 gens as well, maybe fourth. I've never played beyond 5th gen. Like I only played Gen 4 and 5 in the last like few years. So like I'm still way behind as well. But like I don't know. I just love the older ones. Like I love Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. That's my jam. I love that
That's
one.
actually my Heart Gold, regular gold, Gen 2 is my favorite. I dropped off too. I collect them. They just sit here on my shelf, unfortunately. But I did play some of Scarlet. I liked Scarlet. That was the most I'd played since like 3rd gen, honestly. It was pretty good.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It
nice.
had tech issues, but it was good.
Oh, bless. No, that's amazing. So yeah, so Pokemon Yellow then. So Game Boy Color was it?
Game Boy Color, yeah.
Nice. Okay, so did you stick with the handhelds? Did you go to console? Where did PC come into it? Where was your journey from Pokemon Yellow?
I was pretty much I don't I feel like I keep showing off like my museum
No,
here,
yeah,
but
please.
I did collect handhelds. So I was a handheld girl who also moved to other consoles. So after my Game Boy Color, I think I got a Game Boy Advance first. I can't totally remember the order. And then Super Nintendo was my first not handheld console. So I grew up primarily console stuff. It's funny now because I'm a big Sega girl, but a lot of Nintendo early on: Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, GameCube, and then Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance SP. That was my era. That was
Mm,
coming home from school, gaming every day, gaming till I fell asleep, gaming with a worm light. I don't know if you remember those on my Game Boy Color under
yes.
the covers so I wouldn't get caught until the SP came out. Staying up all night with Animal Crossing on GameCube. That's my era of gaming, other than the Dreamcast, which ended up becoming my favorite console. I did do some PC stuff, but only like random stuff like Sim Theme Park and Zoo Tycoon. And I don't know if you know like Freddy Fish and Humongous Entertainment Games?
No, I'm not familiar. No.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Freddy. They're point and click children's games. Freddy Fish, Pajama Sam, Spy Fox. I played those on PC. They're very easy point and click games, but they're fun.
Oh, nice. But yeah, you went through a lot of Nintendo, a bit of Sega. So where was the turning point then for Sega? Because was it the Dreamcast? I mean, what a console that was. To
It
be fair,
was.
it
It's
was
the
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast is so underrated. It breaks my heart how it failed commercially. But
Yeah,
I tell everybody it's because Sega already got the most perfect console. I mean, there was
yeah,
nowhere else to go. Might as
yeah,
well quit.
absolutely. Yeah, you can't beat perfection. Yeah.
Exactly. I think
Oh,
it for me, it was because I was one of those with having a parent that worked at Target. I got consoles once they were clearanced out. So
right.
the Dreamcast clearanced out around 2001. I think 2000 maybe. It was one of the last ones on the shelf. And so I got it because it was like, here you go, this is super cheap. And it had Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. And from that point on, I was sold. I immediately was
Mm.
like, I'm a Sega girl, I'm a Sonic girl. I can listen to all my CDs on this Dreamcast. The controller had a VMU. It was over. There was no turning back.
Amazing. I never hear that many Nintendo people switching to Sega, to be fair. I like that. I tend to find the other way because, like you mentioned, longevity, unfortunately, of Sega as well plays a part, I think, of that. But, like, it's nice and refreshing to hear that. I love that. I love that. Let's go. So I'm a Sega guy myself. So my first console was the Mega
Oh,
Drive.
yay.
So I love Sega. I love Sonic. Always have. So did you play Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2? Did you then play some of the older Sonics, or did you kind of move forward with Sonic? Like, what's your Sonic journey like?
I'm kind of a bad Sonic fan.
Yeah,
I got my first Genesis a few years ago, and I respect 2D Sonic. Sonic has had banging soundtracks since day one. So Green Hill Zone has been my ringtone since I got like a Motorola Razor phone back in the day. Like
let's go.
I love the soundtracks, but 2D Sonic is just not my thing. I'm a 3D Sonic girl,
Mm,
and specifically Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 are just peak for me. So I've played other ones. I especially like Sonic X Shadow Generations came out last year. That was very good. Very hyped about that. I played Sonic Frontiers when it launched. I had other 3D Sonic stuff, but Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 or that's my era. We never really, got a third adventure. You can argue we kind of
Yeah,
did with a couple sequels, but the adventure era is my era. So I replay those games every year. So I've beaten them like I don't even know 40 times. I feel like at this point.
nice. And you played those on like stream as well? Is that like an annual
Yeah,
thing?
I
Nice.
I I, really challenged myself to beat them both in one sitting, which is hard because now I am a community-focused streamer first and game-focused second.
Hmm.
So, I'm constantly pausing and chatting and being goofy with the community, and you'd think I'd get better at the game, but somehow I'm getting worse because anytime my community grows, that means more chatting, so sometimes it takes me, like, 15 hours of sitting there and playing Sonic Adventure now, but it's okay, it's fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. That's so nice. Love that. Heck yeah. So, okay, so some of your favorite Nintendo titles then that you played again, either handheld or on console. Then you mentioned the Super Nintendo just now at one point, didn't you? So yeah, what are some of your favorite titles?
I actually I have 2 sitting right here. My
Nice. Yay.
I say this so often on stream. I have like a top 5 favorite games ever. So, 2 of the Nintendo ones I also revisit yearly. So that's Earthbound for Super Nintendo.
Yes.
Favorite RPG of all time. Love it, obsessed. I'm currently playing it on stream right now actually because I rotate my games, so I'm playing it like 1 day a week. And then Paper Mario is my other favorite Nintendo game. Big fan of Paper Mario, which I also revisited recently.
Amazing. I haven't confessed to you that I haven't played a lot of the Nintendo RPGs apart from Final Fantasy because they were ported over to PlayStation and stuff like that. But I never had many Nintendo consoles, so I need to play Earthbound. I need to play Paper Mario, and again with the remaster as well. Like it's like there's no excuse now. I've got to do it. So I
I know, yeah, ported to NSO means that everybody should be playing them 100%.
I've got to do it. I've got to do it. Nice. Oh, good stuff. So, okay. So, were you like someone that played games? I mean, again, some of the games you mentioned. Did you play much on your own? Did you play with family, friends? What was? Or were you a solo gamer?
I was very much a solo gamer other than having a sibling that also gamed. We were close in age. We would play like Mario Party and stuff like that together. And then it got to a point where as I got a little bit older, I switched to where I stopped gaming so much and I would just watch them game. And it's funny because people used to make fun of me for that all the time. They'd be like, "You're not a gamer. You just watch other people game." And that was one of my favorite hobbies.
Yeah.
And then look at people on Twitch now.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Let's plays on YouTube. I was like, "Hello, I was doing this before anybody else." But it was mostly solo gaming until it got to the point where I had like a game room and I would be on the computer on like Neopets or Gaia and then MySpace and all that. And my sibling would play games right next to me, so I would just kind of stop what I was doing and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch you play through the story instead of play it myself."
That's so good. That's so good, and I love that you mentioned that as well because it's so funny how things have turned around now, isn't it? Like to the point that again, we talk about like content creators and Twitch, we say, and YouTube Live, etc. Like it's a huge part of gaming now. Like to the point that I think there was a certain point, probably maybe 10, maybe 15 years ago, where I don't think certain game companies probably took that as seriously. But now you can't. You've got to cater to that audience, the watching audience. It's a massive turning point, I think.
Yeah, I'm really glad that it because for the longest time I had the fake gamer title from
Oh,
people, and
okay,
now we
yeah,
get to be like, this is not only my job where people watch me play games, but this is such a big thing. YouTube Let's Plays, I think, erupted around like 2010, so it has not gone away. It has only gotten bigger and bigger, and the fact that that's turned into how video game companies use marketing,
yeah,
having creators play a game at launch to market their game, stuff like that. Like I'm very glad to see that it has stuck around.
yeah, definitely,
Oh,
absolutely.
my dog's waking up. Sorry.
Hello, hello.
This is
Oh,
Shadow. Also, because I'm a chronic oversharer, I feel like I should state real quick because I keep hyper fixating on it. I live in Texas, very open about that. It's hot here. My house is old and my air conditioning can't keep up, so I turn red very easily. I
Okay.
promise I'm not being held hostage for anybody watching this. This is not like a stress rash. I'm just,
Oh, right, I see. Oh,
I
goodness.
just, I just the heat is kicking in here. So
Oh, bless. Goodness me. We were talking again. Me and Emmy were just talking before we went live. I was saying that it's absolutely throwing it down with rain here in North Wales. So completely different temperatures and weathers where we're sitting today. Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
I would love some of that rain. What streaming later is going to be fun. All the lights get turned off, so I'm like, please cool down.
It's that proper tropical rain as well because it has been quite warm last week. So it's that tropical rain of like, oh, it's quite warm rain. It's quite refreshing actually. So yeah, I'm sure I'll try and give you some. I'll try and give you some. So
Thank you.
yes. Oh, so yeah. Then going into then you mentioned some of those consoles and the handhelds, etc. Then over the last like what do we say like 10, 15 years where have things gone and did PC come in a bit later on? I know you mentioned you did have it, but was it is it a stronger component now? Where does that come in? And then what are your more recent consoles that you've had, if any?
It wasn't really till I started streaming. So I started streaming in January of 2019. And I knew I wanted to stream on original hardware, but I didn't have all the equipment set up right in the beginning. So I started utilizing Steam. And I'd had a Steam account for a long time, but I didn't use it. I actually did not have a PC for multiple years. There's like a gap in me even having access to one besides my parents. And I had a very small laptop for school, and I would sometimes play like a game or two on there. But once I started streaming, I got a desktop and I finally was like, okay, I'll try out some different stuff. So Steam is probably something I utilize somewhat regularly,
Yeah.
but I do still primarily do consoles. My whole thing on Twitch, and I just like the nostalgia. I collect them. They sit here, might as well use them.
Yeah, I love that. I respect OG console streamers so much because I've got like my Mega Drive and I've got like my PlayStation and stuff and I'd love to I want to but I'm also like but what if I break it? What if I'm like the collector in me is like I don't know if I can. I don't know.
But they want to be played,
I
and
know.
the retro category on Twitch. I'm very biased, but I think the retro category on Twitch is just a family unlike any other. People love to see that. I love to see it. I get
Yes.
very excited.
Yeah. I do love streaming on the retro category. We do retro Sundays on our community here. So yeah, I love that. No, I love OG hardware stuff, and I may take the plunge at some point. I may do. Yeah.
You can
So
always ask me what kind of equipment. Just saying.
I might do. I might do for sure. Oh man. Yeah. So have you got any like favorite video game stories from like growing up? It could be maybe like again you mentioned your sibling, or maybe like beating a certain game, or like an event that happened. Like what comes to mind when it comes to some of the best or funniest or memorable stories of growing up?
So when you sent me these questions, I tried really hard to think about this one. And I don't necessarily have a favorite, but I have kind of just an overall sentimental story. Am I
Yeah,
allowed to be in my
of
feels for a
course.
second?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, please.
I say I've said it already today. I'll say it a million times. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 are my favorite games of all time. And at the time I got introduced to them, it was at a kind of pivotal point in my childhood. My parents were separating, my living situation was changing. I moved from one state to another state. And I have always kind of felt, I'm very open about this on my stream too. I've always felt kind of like the weird one out. I know now it's because of my mental disorders and being neurodivergent, and I've just
Yeah,
never necessarily fit in everywhere. And when I got introduced to Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, it was the first time that I had played a video game where the characters had such personality. You know, we have Mario, we had Princess Peach. The kind of stuff that I grew up with was the kind of quiet pro tag. I'd Link to the Past. Link just kind of yells at you. You know, it was different. And Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 had Sonic being like, you know, I'm the cool blue hedgehog. You know, if I have time to worry, then I can run. I can do whatever I put my mind to. It doesn't matter what happens. I can get through this. And then Sonic Adventure specifically had multiple characters in there. They had U102, the robot, with their own journey. They had Amy. That was the first female pro tag I had seen where she was very independent and trying to do her own thing. And completing Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 as someone who's like 9 years old for the first time experiencing these kind of characters in gaming, I just immediately felt like I had found, kind of silly, but I had found like my friends. I had found
Yeah.
people that if I was having a bad day and I just wanted to chill, I could come home and go fishing with Big the cat. If I needed to be inspired, I could hang out with Sonic. If I needed a girly friend, you know, I could play Amy. So those games really kind of hit me in the heart in a different way that no game had ever experienced. And it is one of the reasons why when things are changing in my life, I had a bad day, a good day, if I want to party, celebrate something. I mean, so many different emotions are wrapped up in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. So they will always be very sentimental to me because of the way they got introduced to me and the time of my life that they got introduced to me.
I absolutely love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. And so, like again, when it comes to like Sonic Adventure, like I know there's a lot of people that do criticize the game because it's so varied. But that's a good way of showing why it's good to have the variety, because you can you can want to do some fishing, you want to do some, you know, you've got, there's so much to do in that game, and so many characters, so many person. Oh, that's wonderful. I love hearing that story. That's really, really good to hear.
Thank you.
And yeah, I can somewhat relate to some of the things you said. I've mentioned it on my story, I'm sure, as I do have my own episode. But like I got bullied a lot when I was a similar age, and Fantasy 7 was my go-to game. I learned a lot about myself, and again, finding myself invested in the characters of a video game properly for the first time when I played that. So I somewhat relate to what you're saying. So, oh, that's so nice to hear that. I love that, and I'm sorry it wasn't obviously the happiest, but it became a happy ending of that in that respect, anyway, isn't it? So that's amazing.
It made me part of who I am. So
Yes.
I don't mind that I have kind of such a, I guess, maybe bittersweet story when it comes to video games, but I definitely am. I'm happy with who I am, and it's
Yes.
the foundation of my community being who I am, thanks to things like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. And for the haters that don't like all the characters in Sonic Adventure 1, I hope you hear this because
Good.
having the range of characters is what makes it successful, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, again, and you mentioned Sonic Adventure 3. I mean, they've never really returned to that. Like, we had Sonic Mania, didn't we, for like, you know, the 2D fans, and there's a lot of people that would love to see a return to that style of Sonic game as well. So you never know. Fingers crossed that might happen. So
You
yeah,
can kind of argue, I'll say this on my stream too. Sonic Heroes and Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 feel very much like they were trying to do Sonic Adventure 3. So if they don't ever do a third one, that's fine with me because we got the movies and the movies are great and I'm happy with how everything turned out. But
I've
it
seen the
would be
first one.
interesting.
I
You've
need
only seen the first one?
yes. I need
Oh
to
my
see the second
gosh,
and
no.
third. Yes.
Yes, they're so good. They're fantastic.
Yes, I've heard. I really enjoyed the first one, and I my wife's gonna kill me, but yeah, I tried to watch it over Christmas with my son and my wife, and it was like, yeah, we'll watch it. Yeah, we just never got round to it. And I was like, come on, man. But yeah,
You have to set a
yeah,
day and do a Sonic movie night because they are great.
I'd be down for that. That sounds like a banging idea. Yeah, thank you for that, Amy. Yeah, that sounds good. So, okay, so you've got it already mentioned what you're playing right now. So, have you got like let's talk about that as a general thing. So, do you like how do you kind of fix your schedule up? Do you kind of play what you feel like spontaneously? Do you get the community involved? Never really asked this question on the podcast. I quite like it. So, how do you kind of pick your schedule and games that you do? Like, what's your mental process for that?
I'm kind of a mess with the schedule, to be honest. Speaking of mess, I'm being attacked by a dog here. There we go. I do a mix of, so I have my yearly revisits, and because I'm so slow and because of, you know, how I don't rush through things other
Hmm.
than the like one speed run I've done. So I will kind of drag things out. So I play a mixture of like the yearly revisits, which are always the same like 6 games. If there's an event going on, I like to celebrate like the Resident Evil Mansion Day, I think is next month, or a partnerversary or or my birthday or something like that. So I'll bring in games for that. But primarily what I do now, I very recently last year, so I've been streaming almost 7 years. Last year I switched my schedule to where I decided it was best for my mental health to avoid burnout to do a different game every day of the week.
Okay,
So
yeah.
things that people have been requesting a lot of, I'll kind of throw in there, events, things like that, like I said, and then something I really want to play. So right now I've been rotating, like Earthbound is one. I do Mother Monday if I stream on a Monday, because it's Mother 2 outside of the US. And I started Link to the Past on St. Patrick's Day because every St. Patrick's Day, I just like to, I don't like celebrate necessarily what St. Patrick's Day stands for, but you know, in America, it's like
Mm,
everything's green. So
yes.
I just celebrate a green character. So
Yeah.
I threw in Link to the Past and we did that every Tuesday for a while. Paper Mario, we did a random weekend. So I like to do just a different game every day of the week. Fallout 2, we call it Thermonuclear Thursday if I stream on a Thursday.
Love
But
that.
I've noticed I don't do well committing myself to certain days of the week necessarily. So it's like if I stream Monday this week, it's this. If I stream Thursday this week, it's this. Tonight, it's Friday the 13th, so I'm gonna do Resident Evil because horror game for Friday the 13th. So it's a mix of things, and I'll kind of sometimes it takes me a really long time, like I said, to beat a game. Fallout 1, I played randomly for like a year before I finally finished it. And I'll drop some games. I was playing Brave Fencer Musashi for PS1 for a minute there, and I just wasn't loving it. Or I was playing Shining Force 2 and I got halfway through and I felt like the community wasn't as interested. So I put it on
Mm,
like a 3 to 6 month hiatus kind of stuff.
yeah.
So I get a feel for just what I want to do, whatever day I end up streaming, and then what the community seems into.
You know what? You mentioned Shining. I love Shining Force. I absolutely love Shining Force, and I have like gone down that like. I really want to stream it, but it's not the easiest game to kind of stream. So I kind
Yeah.
of felt that. So fair
I
play for
loved
trying it.
Shining Force 1. It was so good. That had been on my backlog. I actually have a Dreamcast port of it, and it's bad. The audio is very crunchy.
Okay.
So, I've just and it was too hard for me as a kid. I thought Shining Force had permadeath. So, I would always get to, like, the second battle, and then everybody was dead, and I would just give up, and because I didn't realize you could revive them. I don't know. And
Yeah.
so I finally played Shining Force 1 for the first time last year and completed it on stream, and it was great, but it can be very lengthy, and the
Yeah.
flashing lights, I have to warn people when people come in, like, "Hey, every battle has flashing lights for, like, 45 minutes."
Oh God. Yeah.
So it's an interesting game to stream, but it's a great series, I love it.
Yeah, oh, for sure. No, and I beat Shining Force, and we're not the second one as well. So it's quite funny you mentioned that as well. Yeah, I do love those games. I always wished we got like a proper full version of Shining Force free. I think it partly got released in the US, but we never really got it in Europe. I think that was on the Saturn as well. So yeah, I do love those games. And I didn't know until recently when I first played it for the first time ever, but the Golden Sun games were related to it's the same people that made it, and I was like, what?
I
So
didn't know that till recently either. People kept
yeah,
bringing it up. Yeah, it's interesting. They
it
tie
really is.
into each other kind of in a way, I think, at one point.
Oh, okay. Noted. Yeah. So I loved that game. And I had no idea because I was a Shining Force kid, not a Golden Sun kid. So yeah, funny, isn't it? So so you mentioned your top five. You have a top five favorite video games, but this question is slightly different because it might not
Okay.
be the games you want to play all the time. So, if you were stuck on a remote island and you could only pick three games with you to take you to that island, and I'm so sorry I got to take you from your wonderful trove of incredible games, but you can only pick three of them.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What would what would they be and why?
I actually it's kinda the same as my favorites, I think.
Yeah.
It would probably be Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, just because 'cause I've never gotten bored of those games, and specifically, with those in Sonic, there's a bajillion emblems you can
Mm.
get. I mean, you can play that game forever before you finally 100% both of them. So, there's a lot of replayability. I don't think I'd get bored. I love them. The 3rd one, I think it would be one of my favorites, but more of my, like, past few year favorites. I think I'd bring Resident Evil for PS1, and that is
Mm.
because I have been saying so I played it for the first time in 2021. I was a late Resident Evil fan, but I've been obsessed with the series ever since, hence Wesker, and I've got Jill and, Leon back there. But but I've been saying ever since I finished Resident Evil 1 the first time that I would eventually I wanted to do a deathless run, and then a hitless run, and then eventually speed run it. but I've tried a few times, and I'll do like an 8-hour stream of it where I don't end up dying, and I'm like, okay, we'll get back to this next week, and then I just don't because of my rotation of games. So if I had it on an island, it would force me to finally do the death list and then the hit list and then the speedrun.
Yes. You'd be eventually you'd be off the island like, hi, I did it. Yeah.
And Jill and Chris both have 4 different endings. So like I could do all that for one and then for another ending. I would not get bored of any of those games. It would work out great.
It's very interesting again that you've recently become the big Resident Evil fan and you've gone for the OG then, not for the remake. Because I actually I think I do prefer the original, but I feel like I'm in a minority. Most people think the remake's like king, and I'm like, it's very good, but I don't know. I just prefer the original. So
that's my hot take. Oh, I haven't gone through all of them yet. I've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, Code Veronica, and then I ended up doing the remakes of 1, 2, 3, 4. So I actually am going to be streaming Revelation soon. I need to do Revelations 5, Revelations 2, 6, 7, 8, and then I'm gonna actually start Outbreak in honor of RE9 getting announced. So
yes.
I have a bunch of games I still have to get through the series, but I definitely have latched on to the originals. They have the classic survival horror feel, the retro feel I love, and my hot take is I don't really like RE1 remake. Everybody says it's the perfect remake, but to me, it's just kind of a similar version of the first one without the charm.
That is a hot take, isn't it?
It is. The only thing that I think RE1 remake did better, I know Lisa Trevor was supposed to be in the original, and I like she grew on me. I didn't like Lisa at first, but Lisa's story has grown on me. I respect what they were trying to tell there, and some of the environment is more fleshed out in one remake. You can definitely tell the difference in, I mean, graphically, right? But there are some rooms that I didn't even know what I was looking at on original PS1, and then on the remake, I was like, oh, that's what's in the room. It's not just a bunch of pixels. So I see what's happening there now. And I respect it. But overall, I think one it has all the charm. And one remake, they tried to be serious, but at the same time kind of took away some of the fun to me.
Yeah, the cheesy lines. I have an exclamation mark Barry sound alert on my stream, and it's a random Barry sound. I love Barry. I've cosplayed as Barry, so yeah, I love the cheese. I love the cheese so much.
Same. Anytime somebody asks, like, because I'm very spoiler free, no backseating on my channel. And if somebody will kind of ask a question like, "Oh, did you know like this happens?" We'll be like, "Don't open that door." Like Wesker.
Yes.
And we have an exclamation mark door command for it. Like the lines in that are and one of my follow alerts is "You were almost a Jill sandwich." It's the best lines. They're amazing.
You just can't beat Barry's lines. They're just the best. Oh, the master of unlocking. Yeah. Oh man. Considering you play a lot of retro games, then Emmy, you would probably over your many years of playing games have played some hard ones. Like, what's some of the hardest games you've played?
Oh, that's a good question. I should have prepared for this one. It's interesting. So, for example, Resident Evil. What is hard to me a few years ago is not the same now. Resident Evil was one of my first ever survival horror games I played. I have always been interested in horror, but I just didn't play them. They were too difficult for me. So, Resident Evil was, I think, like the third horror game I ever played, ever streamed. And it took me weeks to get a bad ending as Jill. I really struggled. I was resetting a lot. I was panicking over my ammo the whole time. I was just really stressing. And when I got my bad ending after like 3 weeks of playing it, and that was before I rotated one game a week. So that was literally like a lot of streams. Yeah. I admired the game, but I straight up said I don't want to play this again anytime soon. And I put it down and I thought I was done. And and one thing I really learned with me specifically is that because I didn't grow up playing a ton of games besides Pokemon and I play the same games over and over. So those games I'm pretty good at and other games I'm not. I like the challenge of just forcing myself to play something new. And after I played Resident Evil 1, I gave Silent Hill 1 a try. And honestly, I totally hated it. And then I quit it after like a few hours and then went back to it almost a year later. Obsessed with Silent Hill 1 now. It's my favorite. They just announced a remake for it.
Yes.
So so for me, it's just there are games that are hard, but it's because I had to adjust my playing style and challenge
Yeah.
myself to do something new. But that's the thrill of it, especially survival horror.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that resilience you mentioned there. Like, you know, after a few weeks, you're like, you tried it and you like, nope, but that you keep going back to it. And that's always a difficult thing, I think, on stream as well. I don't know what your thoughts are. Please let me know in terms of like, if you are at a point in a video game and you're live and you're like, oh, what do I do? Because you're trying to be an entertainer, you try to have a good time,
Yeah.
and then you got the difficulty. Like, how do you balance that? How do you balance that?
There have been a few games. Resident Evil 2 Remake was one. I did Claire A's story, and then I had started Leon B's story, and I just was not having a good time. It was just that's another hot take for another day. But 2 Remake got a little repetitive, and playing A and B scenario back to back, I just kind of was not into it anymore. So when it gets to the point where it's either too challenging or just I am not enjoying myself, I will take a break. And then over time, I'll just sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's a month, sometimes it's more than that. But I will decide for myself, do I want to give this another try? Am I having fun? And I'm very open on my stream. If I just don't want to play a game anymore, then I just don't. I don't really see the point of my community choosing to spend time with me while I'm not enjoying myself. But a lot of times, sometimes just a step away works. Resident Evil 2 Remake, I went back, I finished Leon B. I don't necessarily want to go play it again anytime soon, but I'm glad I did it. Then other games that Silent Hill, Resident, I mean, taking the time off a lot of times will put me in a better position to where I'm like, okay, I had a breather, I can go back to it. But there are games, like I said, Shining Force 2, I just don't think my community was necessarily feeling anymore. I'd love to go back to it one day, but probably not anytime soon. Brave Fencer Musashi PS1 had a lot of charm, but I didn't really want to play it anymore. I'm gonna get a lot of hate. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. That's the only Metroidvania I've ever played. I gave it one like 8 hour stream, and by the end of it, I was like, I would like to end this stream now. And I just
Yeah.
I meant to go back to it, but I just said, I'll wait till I'm in the mood for a Metroidvania. Maybe that's next year. Maybe that's 5 years from now. Who knows? But if I'm not having fun, I don't think my community is having fun, so I just let myself drop it.
Be fair, Castlevania. I feel like I love Symphony. I've not really played many Metroidvania games myself, and I played Symphony Tonight for the first time. I love Symphony Tonight. I do want to play more Castlevanias, but to be fair, again, and I don't know what your thoughts are, but I genuinely found it was such a grind, and you have to really ride through it to actually enjoy it. And then when you finally through it, it's okay. But I feel like it's such an uphill battle, and it's so hard. It's really hard. The beginning of that game, it really caught me off guard by how hard it was. And I think that's somewhat maybe it might have a factor involved. Maybe I don't know, but I ended up eventually loving it. But it did take time. I mean,
For
yeah.
me, it was weird because I knew it was going to be difficult. So when I realized you could level up at the beginning, I spent like 2 hours just killing, what is it, like zombies? Like literally the very beginning, where they just keep respawning. I was like, I'm just going to kill these until I level.
I wish I had some common sense like that. Yeah.
So it was weird because the game wasn't hard. It just, after like 8 hours straight of it in one sitting, my first ever Metroidvania, once the backtracking started to really kick in was when
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm not necessarily looking forward to figuring it out at this moment. But before the backtracking, I felt it took a couple of I don't remember now at this point, but there were like a couple bosses, and I kind of struggled, but I figured it out. It was fine. I liked the challenge a little bit, trying something new, but it felt very linear
Yeah.
until it didn't. And the way my brain is, I struggled with that with Resident Evil, Silent Hill. I mean, survival horror a lot of the time is kind of linear until it's not, and I struggled with that too. So it didn't win me over, but I have faith. The fact that survival horror has won me over, I think there is a chance for Metroidvanias, just not right now.
You never know. You never know. So, when it comes to like playing video games, what's your default setting? Do you tend to go for like easy mode, or do you tend to go for like medium, or do you go for hard? I know some people do, but not many. But they go straight for hard. Like what's your natural default position for starting a new game?
It depends. very much prefer games that don't have a difficulty. Like
Okay, yeah,
Resident
of
Evil
course.
1 technically has, they say Jill is easy. I think
Yeah,
it's up to the way that she gets hit. I wouldn't say she's easy, but Resident Evil 1 technically doesn't have a difficulty setting. Resident Evil Code Veronica technically doesn't have a difficulty setting. RPGs don't generally have. I like the ones that don't have difficulty settings.
yeah,
If I do have to choose one, I try to go for, like, standard normal mode if I can, but sometimes that's hard. Like, Resident Evil Original 2 and 3 just have easy and hard, and
mm,
easy is too easy on those and hard's too hard, so I've just kinda skated a little bit with easy for a while. Silent Hill 2 original, I really struggled with on normal. I think I ended up
yeah.
doing easy on that one as well as Silent Hill 3, but it just depends. If they don't have a difficulty, I'm much happier because then I don't have to worry about it, but I try to do kind of a normal standard mode.
Mm. And for me, for Silent Hill games, it's the puzzles. I'm like, I'm so bad, I'm so bad at the puzzles. I'm like, I probably should play them on easy mode, to be honest. I never learned my lesson. I'm like, I have no idea what the answer to this puzzle is. Yeah, I'm just gonna Google it. So,
I'm very stubborn. We have a little bit of a meme around my stream, but I don't know for sure how long it was. I think it was 8 to 10 hours on stream on one Silent Hill 1 puzzle. And it wasn't because it was hard. It was because the game failed to Do
okay.
have you played Silent Hill 1?
I have, yes. I love Silent Hill
Do you
1.
know the
Yes.
alert puzzle?
The alert puzzle. The alert puzzle.
It's
What
the
part?
first letter, it's later in the game, and it's, like, put in the first letter of, like, a name on a wall or something,
Oh, like
and it spells ALERT.
yes, of course. Yeah, yeah. In the yeah, right at the end of the game, isn't it? Yeah, yeah,
Yes. So you would think that if you're I don't know why in my case somehow I was trying to put like the whole names and then I don't know what happened. It doesn't cut you off if you put more than like more than 5 letters.
yeah,
So I would
yeah.
spend hours. I had a whole notebook full of every combination I had tried and I thought I had tried alert. And apparently I accidentally skipped it. And there's a clip of me being like AL and then I was like does this spell alert? 8 to 10 hours because the game doesn't tell
Wow.
you that, like, you can't go past 5. It should have cut off. That's not
Yeah,
my fault. That's
I
Konami's
I
fault.
agree with you. Yeah, well, yeah, it's definitely Konami's fault. Don't do it again in the remake, Konami and Bloober Team. Come on
Yeah,
now.
please.
Speaking of, have you played the Silent Hill 2 remake?
I tried. I struggled a lot. That was one of those games I think I'd have to play on easy. Bloober was very good at recognizing people didn't trust them with combat, so they really ramped up that combat, and I struggled hard with it. And
Mm,
at the time it came out, I had a really bad PC, so I just recently got a new one, which means I can give Silent Hill 2 Remake another try, but I'm very intimidated by that combat. I was struggling.
wow. No, yeah, I'm not great at it either. I'm playing it right now, actually. So
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah. I'm at a point. I'm in the latter end of the hospital. I'm like, I've got no supplies left. I've got no ammo left. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm not very good with the pipe, but I'm trying. So yeah,
Yeah, Bloober really they decided to show us. So
yeah,
for everybody who talked smack to Bloober, we got what we asked for.
yeah. That's a good little battle system. To be fair to them, I can't knock it. I can't knock it. So yeah, so you mentioned about your laptop, and you mentioned about like how you got to streaming. I think you said 7 years ago, didn't you? So what were the steps then? So taking into account your first stream, and going backwards from that, what were the steps and the thoughts and the feelings and the things that were in place that made you think, I want to try this? And then what was it like to hit that go live button?
It was really interesting. So I had a full time job. I was doing the adult thing, and then in 2018, I decided I just wasn't happy with the 9 to 5 job environment.
Yeah.
So I quit my full time job to go back to school full time. But I lived on my own, so I had to cancel like all my cable and like all my entertainment purposes besides the internet. And I had a friend of a friend who had been posting this back when I had Facebook and stuff. They had been posting that they were streaming on Twitch and they were playing like Danganronpa or something. And I had a Twitch account. I have no idea how. My Twitch account I think is like 12 years old. I guess I created it, didn't remember creating it. And after seeing that they were playing Danganronpa, I was like, "Oh, that looks interesting. It's all anime. I'm gonna go log in and I'll go watch them." And this person streamed every night for like weeks. And so every night I would go work on my homework or whatever, and I would watch them play Danganronpa. And then I found myself during the day being like, "Well, what am I supposed to do when they're not streaming?" So I started looking more on Twitch and I discovered the retro category and I would watch people pretty much all day. That was my main form of entertainment, my main form of background noise. I have been a pro lurker on Twitch since 2018. And when I graduated from college at the end of 2018, I got a bunch of college money from my family and I decided, why don't I put this towards a PC? And I wonder if I could try streaming myself. And it was kind of a mental hurdle being someone who didn't really have friends or support really other than a couple people in my life, being called a fake gamer all my life. And also just all the other stuff in my head. I was like, no one's going to watch me. It's not entertaining. Like, I don't even know why I'm trying this. And it was a random Friday. I had set up a bunch of stuff on my account. I decided, you know what? My brain is telling me don't do this. I'm just going to try streaming one time to tell my brain to shut up. And I played Hamtaro Ham Ham Heartbreak for the Game Boy Advance in the
Wow.
retro category.
Okay.
And I decided just to chill for a couple hours and have a good time, and I didn't know if I'd ever do it again, but somebody popped in my first stream and they they were like, "Why are you playing this hamster game in retro?" And then I decided, I think that was fun and I'm just gonna stick with it. And I did end up streaming almost every day for like months in the very beginning, and I loved it. And I kept saying, I was like, wouldn't that be cool if this could be my full-time job one day? And here I am.
Yes. Here you are. That's amazing. Wow, what a first game. There's not. I can't really think there's many more obscure ones than that I've had on this podcast. That's for sure. Wow. Fair
I
play.
know, it was very random. I just knew, I was like, I think this would be a fun game, and it fit in retro because the
Yeah.
Game Boy Advance. So I just went for it.
Wow. And I love Danganronpa as well. Let's go. I've not played the third one actually. I played the first two, but I love Danganronpa. I need to finish the trilogy off at some point.
I heard the third one jumped the shark, so I've actually intentionally avoided the third one for
Oh,
years.
okay. Noted. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the first two are so good. I love them. Cool. So yeah. So have you stayed in retro pretty much your entire time? Where do you deviate? Do you stick within that? Do you jump out once in a while? Because obviously a lot of what you have done and do is that category. What makes you think about if this comes into your mind, like dipping out of it, if at all?
I think at my core, I'm a retro streamer because I knew I wanted to start streaming in retro, and I've always deviated back in there. But I've really started to come out of the retro category. I'm much more of a I used to just say I was a retro streamer, and now I say retro and variety. I'm much
Yeah.
more in my variety era. I'm trying to think when specifically. Early on, I did play marbles on stream like once a week with people because my community liked that, so we would do that. And then I quit for a few years and just did retro. And then when I really started to get into horror, I started to kind of leave the retro category. I do the Resident Evil remakes. I've kind of dipped out there. I do have a passion for indie games. Deltarune Chapter 3 just came out recently. So
Yes.
I called it Delta June, thanks to a member of my community. We've been playing Deltarune. I dip out of retro a lot now. And it's really interesting because when you think of other retro streamers, most people don't refer to me as a retro streamer. There's a lot of them that like they do a lot more retro. They play NES games, they play different eras.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I kind of just am like, I'm playing what I want today, and maybe it's retro, maybe it's a Resident Evil remake, and maybe it's this. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm in my variety era for sure, but
Yeah.
I will always go back to retro.
That's amazing. Yeah. Sad that people don't see you. Why? I don't know. It's sad, isn't it? But then again, it feels like that's kind of been like the story you've mentioned a few times, Emmy, if I may say, is that sometimes because of maybe the neurodiversity element and whatnot, you've not felt like you fit in, and your resilience to come through all of that is really admirable, if I may say. So that's really good.
Thank you. And just to clarify, I don't think like there's not a group of retro streamers being like, Emmy is not a retro girl. Just usually when you think of the retro streamers in my mutual circles, it's not often me that gets thought of for retro because of how much variety and the other things that I do.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. It's just, it is funny that I always dip back into retro, but the variety is strong these days.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm aware that you used to be called TragicOnTwitch. You're now Emidivergent. Yeah. I love the name transition. And I obviously understand the reasons for it. But was Tragic your first name? What was your first username? And yeah, talk us through like that process then of, because picking your streamer name is so important, isn't it? For your it says a lot about who you are and what type of direction you go in. So yeah, talk us through that if you don't mind.
So it's been different variations of Tragic. And that's because when I was, sorry, I always laugh about this. When I was like 12 or 13 is when Halo 2 was really big. And I never competitively played Halo 2 other than I liked King of the Hill and Capture the Flag. So I wanted like a cool gamer tag username or whatever. And emo me with my hair in my face was like, yeah, it would be Tragic. So that's been just variations of Tragic have been in my username since I was like 12 or 13. And when I first started streaming, I obviously didn't think I was going to be streaming or making it a career in any capacity. So I did change it a few times. At one point, I had Tragic on Twitch with a 0, and then Tragic on Twitch with the O opened up. So I got to do that. And then when I was ready to rebrand, it was a personal and professional decision. I finally was like, okay, I think I'm ready to stop introducing myself as Tragic to people. It was always kind of awkward, be like, hi, I'm Tragic, and then be like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And you're putting in the neurodiversity into your name, and wearing it as a badge of honor, which is wonderful. So if I may say, I know it perhaps might be a bit of a personal question, but like, have you been aware of your neurodivergent condition for a long time, or is it something that you've been aware of recently? What's your story with that, if I may ask?
Yeah, of course. So I knew that I was different because with my experience of just not fitting in with neurotypical individuals since I was a kid. I'm very open about this, so I hope this isn't too heavy. I did get diagnosed with depression when I was 9. So I've always known that something's a little different in my brain. And then in 2020, I think it was 2020, a lot of people's mental health kind of because of world conditions kind of dropped. So I finally decided to see a neuropsychologist and kind of talk about the other things that I felt that I probably needed to get evaluated for. And I got diagnosed with additional things. I'm very open about having now depression, PTSD, anxiety, and BPD. And I self-diagnosed with autism and ADHD because those were additional diagnoses or evaluations. They like to do separate evaluations for those. And I procrastinated on them, and then I lost my health insurance. So so I have known that there was a little bit more to my old noggin than the neurotypical experience. But the term neurodivergent is fairly new to me. I had always heard it, and it had only been associated in instances of autism. So I didn't really identify with the term. And when I wanted to change my username, because when I decided I wanted to change my username, Emidivergent didn't come to my head. I spent days writing down like every possible thing that could relate to me, anything I could possibly change it to. And that was the first time I really accepted, like, I like the term neurodivergent. It is an umbrella term that brings many of us like-minded individuals together that are not, that just aren't neurotypical. And I decided from there, like, I'm going to identify as neurodivergent because I fit it and I like it. And then from there, it became my username. And then I created a stream team for neurodivergent individuals. And I think it's a much more common term now. A lot more people know that it doesn't just mean somebody with autism.
Yeah, no, you're right. I might speak a bit more of it off stream, but I think I'm a lot more aware about neurodiversity in my personal life, because I now coach people. I do life coaching with people with neurodiverse conditions, so I've had to learn a lot more about it. But that's a conversation for another time, because for obvious reasons. But yeah, it's I love it. I absolutely love it. And I do think it is it's definitely going in the right direction. That's for sure. When it comes to becoming more common knowledge, that's for sure, isn't it? So it's great. And I remember, I think when we talk about I messaged you asking if you wanted to be in the podcast. I messaged you saying tragic, and then I think maybe you messaged the second time saying hi Emmy. I think it was literally after transition was happening with your name. So I was like, oh, this name, I love that. It worked, and it rolls off the tongue so nicely as well. It's a fantastic username.
Thank you. Some people still call me tragic. It is I still have like in my bio to be cheesy because so many people are used to it, but it says like I used to be tragic on Twitch, but now I make magic on Twitch.
Oh, I love it. Oh, love that. Love that.
I'll probably keep that until people don't remember who tragic is, but that's okay.
So over the many years that you've been streaming, then what are some of your favorite memories then? So like, was it obviously some wonderful time, I'm sure, with your community? When did Twitch partner come into it? Maybe special streams that you've done. So yeah, what are some of your favorite streaming memories?
Getting Twitch partner was one of them. I never had like a real partner push. I never had a goal to be partner. I just was like, I hope I get this one day. And a few months before I started to hit like the partner stride, I had being personal. So I feel like I could be a Debbie Downer, but I had some people in my life who were very toxic to have around who had kind of put me on a path on Twitch of looking at things very negatively and competitively. And they would tell me that, I probably wasn't going to get partner. If I did, it was just because I was a woman. And so I cut those people out of my life. And a few months later started to hit partner numbers. And I was very excited to even be able to do that and to be able to prove that person wrong who had told me that. And this is silly, but 3 is one of my lucky numbers. So 33 is a big one. And I got the partner acceptance email on my 33rd month of streaming. So that was very
Yeah,
cool. So now anytime someone subs for like 33 months, I'm like 33, and I talk about how my partner journey was 33 months. But there have been a lot of really great moments on stream. I streamed on my 30th birthday, which was a big deal for me because as someone with depression, I never really saw myself approaching my 30s in any sort of
yeah.
positive fashion. And we did this big event where I wore all black and I put on a black crown and black lipstick and we said goodbye to the death of my 20s. That was very fun.
I love that.
And I've streamed a lot of birthdays. I've streamed a lot of Christmases. It's very important to me to be around on holidays because holidays are usually the time people are more prone to like relapsing if they're in addiction, which I'm actually a sober individual, so I'm a little more attuned to this. Or people are more depressed around holidays. So I stream. I've had a lot of streaming moments, and I've streamed through a lot of things that both challenge myself and have allowed me to be there for other people. And it's been a really great ride so far. You never know with streaming, especially with how Twitch is, it could end tomorrow. So I'm very glad at the very least I have a lot of good memories.
Wow, I love that. Wow, that was some amazing stuff you mentioned there. Goodness me. Yeah. Again, I've said the word a few times, but you're so resilient. Like you come through so much, and you really do wear that strength, as a badge of honor, and a rise above everything that you've gone through. So yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I've got a question from a previous streamer that's been on the podcast. Again, they didn't know who they were going to be asking this question to, but here it is. So the question is, what is the worst stream you've ever had? And what did you learn from that experience?
That's so interesting because I don't necessarily have like a stream where I'm like, oh yeah, I can remember this is the worst stream ever. So I'm glad you warned me this was the question
Yes.
beforehand because I tried really hard to think like, is there a stream that I would count as the worst? So unfortunately, I don't think I can answer that specifically, but I
Yeah.
can say there have definitely been a few streams where I've ended stream crying. And it's been for moments of just I wasn't in a good mental place, or I don't know, something happened, or maybe I got trolled or someone hateful on stream, or I was really bad at a game, or things just didn't go the way I was expecting them to. That's happened. I think any streamer can say that's happened
Yeah, of
before.
course.
And it's always a little humbling having to come back after that and be like, I'm sorry, y'all, that I had to end stream on a bad note. Thankfully, I think there have only been a handful of times I've legitimately just been like, I have to end stream. I'm so sorry. I'm not doing well today.
Mm.
But I have definitely learned, not every streamer would say this, but I have learned that it's okay to cancel. And it's one of the reasons that I don't have a consistent schedule. I try really hard to stream at least 4 days a week, but I don't really push myself anymore to stick to a specific day, a specific schedule, or anything, because if I'm mentally not well, then I don't want to show up to stream and be in a bad mood and have the type of stream where my community doesn't have fun, I don't have fun, because there's no point in that. And I think I've also had to learn it's okay to not be 100% all the time. I don't have to cancel
Yeah,
stream just because, like, oh, I don't feel good today. Like, I can have a stream that's lower energy. I can have a stream and openly admit, hey, I'm not 100% today. This is going on or this is going on. But if I just in my gut am knowing I'm not doing well today, then I have learned it's okay to cancel. It's okay to watch a movie in Discord instead. It's okay for me to say, hey, oh, I really just need to touch some grass, and that is acceptable.
definitely. I completely agree. And in fact, some of that, what you just said there, comes into my final question. We're at the end. Oh my God, where's that gone? But what advice would you think about giving anyone that is thinking about picking up streaming? Again, you've kind of touched upon some of those already, but yeah, what do you want to wrap that up and maybe give some more general thoughts and opinions on to anyone who's thinking of picking this up as a hobby, or maybe again, if they're privileged to get to that point to become a content creator as a job, maybe.
Yeah, of course. I mean, everyone's journey is different, right? But I kind of always give the same advice. What's actually funny is someone stopped me. I went to DreamHack Dallas. I don't know if you're familiar with DreamHack. I went to a convention
Yeah,
recently, and
yeah.
some random person came over and was like, "Are you a content creator? Do you have advice for me?" And I was like, "I sure do." But I always like to tell people, if you're thinking about streaming, or even if you started streaming and you're struggling with your goals or what you're doing, I think it is so important. First off, one, don't have expectations. And not everyone is going to agree with me on this. There are definitely people who their goal is to become partner or had do it full time. But I think part of my journey that really worked for me is that I never had expectations. I never streamed with a goal of being an affiliate or a partner or making this my full time job. I just thought it would be really cool if it happened. And for me, it did. But there are lots of people who start streaming. I mean, people who have messaged me about it. They started streaming and they thought, oh, I'm going to get affiliate like right away. I'm going to
Mhm.
get partner right away. A bunch of people are going to watch me. And then they're disappointed when it doesn't work out the way they thought. So I think, one, don't have expectations, just have fun. It's a journey. Who knows where it's going to take you? Maybe it'll take you to where I am. Maybe you'll end up being, a full-time streamer that I'm begging to be on your podcast next. Who knows? But but no expectations. Two, I also think you should really be yourself unless you have a very specific character persona, which does happen, if you're like a VTuber character or something like that. But I think being yourself is important, because being who you are is going to attract like-minded individuals like you, and that's how you build a genuine community, is showing
Yeah.
them who you are, and birds of a feather flock together, right? I definitely think that we'll find each other if you're yourself. And three, play games you enjoy. Don't play games because they're popular, or whatever your content is. Do something you enjoy. Don't do it because you think it's popular. Don't do it if you have a community and they're telling you or asking you to play something and you're just doing it to appease them. Do things you want to do. Do things you enjoy, because it's your content, it's your stream, and the type of community you're building, they'll be there for you if you're genuine, not for the games you're playing or the content you're doing. So that's always what I tell people.
That's
I had points one,
fantastic.
2, and 3 ready to go.
Let's go. Let's go. Well prepared. Well sought out. No, that was some fantastic advice. I love the first one. I love the first thing you mentioned. Is no little to no expectations, because then you aren't going to put yourself into a situation where you are going to be, disappointed. The amount of people sometimes I know that throw money at streaming and it's like,
Yeah.
wow, like that's an investment, and I get it at the time, and money can obviously invest and become a success, but it's such a hard journey for so many people. So yeah, I think that's such a great bit of advice, and I don't think I've heard that many say that, so I love that. So thanks for sharing that. That's the end of
Thanks
it's
for
the end of the
asking.
episode. It's the end of the podcast. No, don't want it to
I feel
end,
like
but
we were
no.
talking for well over an hour. My goodness, you're so fun to chat with.
Oh no, so are you. So are you. You've been wonderful. Thank Emmy. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate you, and your time. And I can't wait to hear what's next from you. Obviously, on your socials. So speaking of, can you tell us where we can find you on social media?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Emidivergent on everywhere. I'm most active on Twitch, of course, being a full-time Twitch streamer, but I have 2 YouTube channels. I have a main YouTube channel where I'm just Emidivergent for reactionary content, and then I have Emidivergent Archive for unedited VODs. I'm also active on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Twitter, X, whatever they call it. So anywhere you want to find me, I have an account under Emidivergent.
Amazing. I'm sure a lot of you already are, but give Emmy a follow if you haven't already, and please check her out. She's
Thank you.
wonderful. And thank you so much, Emmy. You've been wonderful to talk to.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm definitely gonna turn all these lights off and go hang out in some colder rooms now.
Yes, I'm gonna probably have a bite to eat and then might be going to bed. I mean, what we're talking about? It's a Sunday. This podcast is on a Sunday, so it's a Sunday evening UK time. Definitely. Anyway, thanks so much,
Yeah,
Emmy.
Sunday.
Have a lovely Sunday, everyone, and I'll see you for another one. Take care. Much love. Bye bye.
Bye.